allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome. Good evening. Today is March 26th, 2018.
Basil?
Here.
Meyer?
Here.
Kraus?
Here.
Missouri? Here. Caprows?
Here.
Whaling?
Here.
And we have the minutes of March 12th. Any changes? If not, is there a motion? Motion. Motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
There is a second. Any questions on motion? Roll call.
Basil?
Yes.
Meyer?
Yes.
Kraus?
Yes.
Missouri? Yes. Caprows?
Yes.
Whaling?
Yes.
Clerk's report.
The tax income received since last month at this time, the second meeting of the month, is $155,506.81. And I was just reminding the board members that the Will County Clerk sent out the statement of economic interest forms to everyone. The deadline is May 1st. Beyond that time, there's a $15 late filing fee. If you don't have your, I heard from a couple of you that you got a second letter in the mail today.
Yes.
And you need that letter to be able to file online. So call the county clerk if you have any questions or issues, or if you need help filing, then I can help you with that. That's all.
Anyone from the audience wishing to address the board? With that, Finance and Administration Committee, Trustee Beecher.
All right, discussion on the village budget. The special meeting of the village budget was on Monday, March 5th. 4-hour budget workshop was held and every line item was reviewed and tweaked. Under a separate cover letter is the results of the work. The village board has two more opportunities to review the budget, tonight and the regular meeting on April 9th. The budget will then be posted for a public hearing on Monday, April 23rd. A cover memo listing each of the changes made to the budget can be referred to for easier review. Any questions or discussions on that?
Are we going to go over this budget anymore, or is this what we do right now?
Well, we have a couple of weeks. I mean, we have next meeting, right, Bob?
Yeah, after the next meeting it would get posted. I can put it on the agenda for
Next
2 weeks from now again if you want.
So since we just got the packet, I guess we could probably take a week to look, or a couple of weeks to look it over. Unless someone has anything to discuss now.
I do have one thing now that Bob and I discussed last week. The salaries, the part-time, I know I asked for the hours all be put into one lump sum so the chief can decide what he wants to do with it. As opposed to having code was specifically listed and was EMA or policing. One of them was listed, one of them was a set salary. But either way, there were set hours for 2 out of 3 of those, which one individual does. Those hours were put in the salaries part-time in the budget, but it's listed at the part-time patrol officer rate, which is not what that individual gets who works that. So how do we figure that out to budget properly? Because his hourly is not $16.75, which a part-time patrol officer makes. His salary, or his hourly, is different.
The village board by 4 votes by motion can just rescind the MOU.
Okay.
The figure that was there, though, was figured at the $16.75 hour. He didn't figure it at the other hour.
That's correct.
It was figured at the $16.75, so those hours should be put into the part-time hours, which is what we did discuss. The only thing that wasn't in there was the EMA, but everything else was put in there.
Okay, but if his hourly rate is not, so do I need to take those back out? Is that incorrect to lump all those hours together? Because his
Yeah,
hours are at
because
$16.75, which is what this budget says.
So unless the board by motion rescinds the MOU, I guess you're bound to pay him the $23.11 an hour.
We already have an executive session, I'll bring that other stuff up then.
If the $16.75, that was the amount that was put in there. That was what was changed, and that's what was put in there, the $16.75. It wasn't in there as the 2023 or whatever it was.
He had it. I guess I just don't understand what you're saying.
So he would get
His hourly is different than what's listed, is what that
But
lump
even
sum was.
in the line item that was changed, you'd have to go back to the original budget. It was so many hours at $16.75 per hour. He didn't have to figure that. That's what was put in those line items.
Because I made a mistake.
He made a mistake, he didn't do
Because I
it.
thought he was paid $16.75.
Okay.
So I would say in executive session, we should discuss that individual rate of pay. That'd be appropriate.
Okay. That's all I have for that.
All right, Will County releases the tax extension for 2017 collectible in 2018. The village tax rate will be 0.7399, which is 0.0069 less than the rate last year. This is due to the increase of 1.15 increase in the assessed value of property in the village. In 2018, a home valued at $235,000 will pay $573.79 to the village, $5.35 less than last year's, $579.14, which was paid by the same home. The enclosed table shows the different rates for the past 10 or 15 years there. No questions? Can I have my report?
Public Buildings and Properties, Park and Recreation Committee, trustee Wheeler.
That lot in Fireman's Park, I approached the firemen, I talked to them today. There has not been a decision made as far as any contribution to that playground. I also talked to Beecher Rec, we also talked to Lions. That Lions Club has come in with a figure, so still working on it. We're also going to have to talk about possible relocation depending on the pipes, sewer pipes, water pipes, whatever's under there. So we'll keep you updated on that. Ball field lights on Fireman's 2. Really don't have anything to update as of right now. I know Beecher Rec was going to approach the neighbors this last weekend, and I have not received anything yet.
Did you get the village's official responses to the electric power available?
Yes.
To share with them?
Yeah, and also, when we talked, Todd and myself talked, they had an electrician look at it as well, and they seem to think that there's enough power there, to supply the lights.
Is the villages, is that their same assessment, or?
We're not going to make an assessment of that. Because I have no idea what they're actually going to do.
Okay.
I don't leave it up to their electrician, as long as he's licensed, and goes into the panel with the connection.
Right. Once we get a response on the neighbors and make a decision, we'll go from there. I guess what we can look at tonight too is if there's a consensus or if anybody objects to it, if we get to that point.
Did everyone get the drawing or the schematic of where they're going?
No, that just
Just went
went
to the committee, I believe.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna be behind, they'll be behind the fence line, so they won't obstruct anything
Right.
else or intrude on any
You know-
other area.
Right, the only concern I would have is if they're putting 2 poles up with 6 lights a pole, if they decide that's not enough light and they add more poles, we can't guarantee there's enough capacity there to add.
Well,
Shoot that.
they won't add anything without checking with Scott first.
Yeah.
right.
I mean, we'll be okay too, they're not just gonna throw 2 more because they go out there and it's not bright enough.
And then Fireman's 3 too, I mean, we may not be able to light both fields with the power we have out there. We really don't know.
Yeah, I think at this point, they're just concerned with Fireman's 2. I think, what did they say, Todd, that they're only gonna have like 6 or 7 games, maybe 8
Yeah.
at the most?
Cause that's the softball field now, and it's for it's Pixies rookies and Pixies, which is 1st through 4th. So, I mean, it's not junior high age or
Well, then
anything
they
like
don't
that.
need all that light going all the way to the outfield if it's a younger age group.
Well, I mean,
Yeah. I see why
some
they
of those
don't
girls
do
can
both.
still hit it to the outfield. I mean, my daughter played there several years ago. Some of those girls can hit. So, but I mean, the point is, there's not gonna be a lot of late night games. We're talking younger kids. We're not talking like junior high age where they're trying to get them all Friday and Saturday nights to, you know, because they have other stuff going on. It's the younger group of kids that they're looking to use the field for.
But I think that's plenty light there for what they wanna do. I would
It's
think,
more than the
you
two
know.
portable stands they had.
Right, right. So, that's where it's at right now. So if nobody has any objections, we haven't made a decision yet at this point, because we gotta look at everything, but we wanted to bring it up at the board meeting to see if there were any objections. Wellstat Park update, Public Works is going to begin to prepare the fields.
Already pretty much done with them.
Okay. What are you gonna do to the, have you done anything to the outfields?
No.
Okay. Is there any type of a roller or anything you can get out there to maybe,
I'll get back to you on that. Well, I mean, we used to be able to roll it, but I'll see what I can do.
okay,
What do they do, the infields, just the two rock ones?
No, they did the 2 limestone, the girls softball, they raked it all out and pulled all the weeds and all the other stuff out of the other ones, so.
Are they ready for practice play? But
You know what, the ground is still, you know, kinda soft. I don't know that I'd be running around, you know, out there doing it yet. Plus, we just got a bunch of rain here. You're probably looking at 2 weeks out.
as far as getting prices for the 2 south fields, you know, we talked about that when we had our meeting with Beecher Rec, and basically, you know, we were told that, you know, not to put a lot of money into those fields because they're not being used. They're used for practice, but I don't think there'll ever be, or at this point, any games or anything like that played on them. So, they pretty much told us, you know, there's no sense in putting, you know, a bunch of money into those south fields at this point.
the limestone ones? Or the sand ones? The sand ones?
Well, we were talking about getting prices on the 2 south fields.
Right, and they said don't bother.
At this point, pretty much, that's what I was told. But, you know, we want to, being, if that area ever gets developed out there, there's gonna be more use. If we see that things are going to change, I still think we should get some type of a dollar amount to see, you know, what we're dealing with. But at this point, you know, that's kind of where it's at. You know, we don't wanna put money out there and leave them set. You know, so, any questions? That ends my report.
Planning, Building, and Zoning Committee, trustee Reserve.
Building Department monthly report is enclosed for your review. The village attended a pre-RFP meeting at CMAP headquarters in Chicago where at least 3 potential consultants were present. CMAP is now accepting proposals until March 30th, and a selection committee consisting of George Schutenma, Bob Heim, and the administrator, and 2 CMAP representatives will interview the finalists and make a selection by May 1st. $20,000 worth of work must be completed by June 30th to ensure sufficient program funds moving forward. This means that data retrieval will be completed over the summer and we will begin in earnest on the project June 1st. That's all I have.
Thank you. Public Safety Committee, trustee Cross.
Thank you. The Police Department, EMA, and Code Enforcement monthly reports are enclosed for your review. Report on the results of a statewide tornado drill on March 6th. All schools participated and all sirens were found to be in working order. Let's hope we do not have, okay, I guess that's for real. Let's hope we do not have to use it for real this year.
Oh, yeah. I do not just keep on your toes.
I scratched it out, you still put it in.
Voice scratch, thanks. Some of the things I have to go over, I need to say for the executive session, but the chief and I did meet last week. Was it last week? And discussing some of the different things to do with code and EMA and community policing, but some of that needs to be discussed in executive session, so we'll go over that. And that ends my report. Thank you.
Public Works Committee, trustee Caparvis.
Water and sewer. Reports are enclosed for your review. The water billing register for the months of January and February is also enclosed. Water loss is at 60%, which it's not at, pump to build is 60%. There's not a 60% water loss, correct? Correct. Yeah, that's what I thought. However, a big leak was found during that billing cycle, so we'll see what comes of that at the next one. I got a feeling that'll be a significant change. Discussion on the replacement of Floyd Berger. At the last meeting, it was announced Floyd Berger, MM1, plans to retire effective Friday, May 4th. There's been some discussion as to whether or not I approached Bob on this is this the time to look for a Class 1 operator for the plant? By combining what we have budgeted for Floyd's salary in combination with what we pay contractually to Baxter and Woman for a plant operator, I just thought it might be smart to advertise for that and see what we get. If we, just because we advertise a position doesn't mean we necessarily have to hire. But it's a good opportunity, I think, for us to see what's out there. What are the salary expectations of people that would be applying for this? Because the fact is we've always known that using Baxter and Woman contractually it was a band-aid, it was a stopgap, right? It served its purpose, but moving forward, I think we need to make some decisions on our own plant as to whether we're going to continue to contractually have operators do it for us or whether we're going to do it ourselves. So I just, in talking with Bob and Greg about this before we went ahead, I wanted to bring it to the board. The thoughts, my thoughts on this are to advertise for both positions and see what we get. I think we just went through a hiring process for a new chief, and I think we were all pretty pleasantly surprised with the quality of candidates we got, and actually the one we were actually able to obtain for our village. And I'm a firm believer, and you don't know what's out there until you advertise for it, and let's see what we get, and we can make our decisions from there. So that was just there. I think all options are out, right? I mean, could it be necessarily to hire two people? Maybe. Is it just one? Is it definitely going to be an operator? Or is it definitely going to be a new MM1? I don't know. I think we want to see what comes in the door. Anyone have any questions or comments on that, or thoughts, or?
Well, I know you have a preference. What are you looking for?
Honestly, personally, I'd love to get both.
Is that in the budget?
I don't know, we'll see. I've done some research on, how good some of these like Indeed sites are and stuff like that. I mean, I seen a town in Illinois outside of St. Louis that was advertising for, we could, for what they were gonna pay for a Class 1 operator, we could afford both. So,
I was doing some research too, and I came to that same conclusion.
yeah, it's definitely a possibility. If we can't do both, to be blunt, it would take the real special kind of person to come in the door to hire that and not hire an MM1. Because the fact of the matter is if you hire that Class 1 operator, you're taking them out of rotation for duty for the public works crew. They'd be down a man. They're already down a man from where they were probably right before I came on the board. They still haven't recouped that man yet that they've been short. And I think to take another one out of the rotation, the duty rotation, stuff like that, it's just maybe tough on them. But we'll see, I mean, you know, and like I said, if that special person comes through the door that, you know, knocks your socks off, and, I don't know, you gotta see what's out there.
You don't know until we advertise tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah.
But we didn't want to advertise without telling the board why we were looking for 2 people. We may not be hiring 2, it could be neither or.
Where are you advertising?
All over the place, APWA, AWWA, IRWA, IML.
Word of mouth.
Oh yeah, you can't advertise in the FEDET and expect to hire a class 1
Don't forget the ABCD.
He forgot to add it to the.
But we have that ready to go tomorrow and it'll be posted.
I noticed in looking at the job requirements that there were time frames in there to get these licenses. You know, how do you know when you hire somebody that they're gonna go,
That they're gonna fulfill that?
that they're gonna fulfill it?
You don't.
Isn't that a condition of employment though?
It could be, I asked the attorney that, and yeah, I mean, it's definitely something we can put in there, it's a condition of their employment, and if they don't meet it, they're gone. Here's what, that time frame came from me, okay? When we first started talking about this wastewater treatment plant years ago, I think it was probably, was that you, Frank, that went with me? We went to, what was it, Plainfield or something?
Yeah.
So that was what, like 3 years ago? And one thing I noticed when I was there, and it stuck with me, is that we met their wastewater treatment plant operator, right? And the guy's walking around in a suit and tie. He was literally administrative duties. And there was 2 men there that were the operators. They made that plant run. So, and they were younger, I venture to say maybe early 30s, mid 30s. And so my question was, and that's what I brought up to Bob, when I advertise for it and do it that way where we require a class 3 because that's the class of plant that we're running now. But they'd have to be eligible, there's certain requirements that they need to meet to be eligible to test and obtain a class 1 license. And they give them that 2 years to do it, which is approximately the time that the new plant will be built. But is there, my question was, is there that person that's sitting out there, right? One of those 2 guys working in the village of Plainfield. The head operator there was probably early 40s. Didn't look like he was going anywhere. There was no room literally for what appeared for those guys to move up. So is there a spot out there, is there somebody that's licensed that's a class 3 that says, I got no room to move up and get my class 1 here, because they already got their operator, but I don't have it yet, but I can get it. You know, and it might be a chance to get someone a little less expensive than a class 1 operator right out the gate, and we'll see. I don't know, these are just things that make the hamster turn the wheel upstairs, I guess. So, I don't know, anyone else, any other questions, or?
And the only thing is if we hire a 3, the 2-year option to get a 1, we would still need a class 1 operator. Because unfortunately, our permit already has our plant at class 1, even though it's still operating like it used to. And he pays weird with their regulations, so we would have to do the bridge. And even if we were to find a class 1 operator and pay that individual some more, I think we'd still have some flexibility to hire more seasonal help. If we couldn't hire another MM1 right away, might be some money left over for that.
Well, yeah, those are openings we can discuss. Let's see what's out there and then see what kind of sacrifices would have to be made and what we can do to help with it, so. Alright, Beecher, wastewater treatment plant, project update. The contractor has agreed to a 30-day extension on the bid to April 30th. Did everybody get one of these, or?
No, I'm
wanna
gonna
pass these
circulate
out?
it now, and,
Yeah.
that's already old news.
While Ray's doing that, I signed the loan agreement this morning. It's official.
So, and then is our, with this date on here, April 16th for a MTP, is that still
That's good.
April 16th?
Yeah, that's what I'm estimating, depending on how quick they get the agreements back and I get them routed to everybody, so, I think this is all doable. April 16th would be the notice to proceed, and we'll have the pre-construction meeting, and then that'll give us, I think it's 460 and 492 are the complete, substantial final completion dates. And that puts us to June 10th, 2019, and the final to July 29th. And most likely, there'll be some additional time, there always is, for rain, or if there's any change orders or that kind of stuff. So it'll probably be, you know, sometime in June or August of next year when we're done. But anyway, the big news is we got the loan offer Friday, and that was the thing we were worried about. So the 30-day time extension becomes null and void. It isn't needed. So because they had to keep their bids until March 29th, because we're March 30th, because we opened them on Halloween, which was
We lost 60 days to that objection we had.
yes,
That killed
yeah,
us.
we had to deal with the Sierra Club and various other groups. So
Ray, is there any concern on your part about plant operation when we're 50% completed going into the winter time?
I don't know if I want to comment on that, and then I don't think it will be. We'll just have to make sure there is milestones in there. We'll have to just, you know, we're going to have project meetings at least once a month.
I'm sure they run into this all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
I
sure
mean,
they have plans.
it's just that we'll have to deal with that at the time. I don't think it's going to be an issue, and I think it's been thought out. But for the size of this job, you know, we are going to go through 5 seasons of weather, and we may have, you know, things where we have to, you know, I'm not worried about concrete pours and all that, because they have to protect their work, cover the concrete and do all that. So if there's something that's going to affect the operation, we'll just have to deal with it. Want me to keep going?
Yeah, we'll go ahead and just move
All right.
it right into number 6, 7.
All right, Penfield Street. Bob, you've been attending the Will County Governmental League meetings on this, but
I believe I put in the board packet a sheet that shows them programming our work. And it's in 2020, and it's a substantial sum of money, a good chunk of what Will County is spending on Penfield.
other than that, we lost, if the money wasn't in place, and you probably know more about than that, but we lost about a year due to the historic preservation people got wind of, if you notice the Penfield Bridge, there's a section that's brick, and that has become holier than thou. So they have to look at it and make sure that it wasn't,
It's a Kite-Wiggenhausen bridge.
it wasn't done by one of Scott's relatives or something back in the 20s, or, you know.
It was. I don't know if Wiggenhausen was.
We just have Scott sign a waiver for his
So-
next of kin, right?
And there's no way we can get around them. So but I don't know if that would have made a difference on the funding. You got a little bit of a better handle on that, but this is what I got today from Tom Slattery that,
I would say that's probably pretty accurate.
yeah, so,
And I would say the village in 2020 is gonna have to borrow about $980,000 to pay for its share of that project. But that's in the 5-year plan, we've discussed it every year, we know it's coming. And we're banking money for it right now, so.
so that'll be, you know, we should be a 1-season job, and then, final restoration will be, landscaping will be in spring of 2020.
So that road will be tore up for our Sesame Centennial. Oh, well. That's what I just looked. Here's your gift.
Horse and-
Cobblestone?
Yeah.
Yeah, horse and buggy.
Yeah.
You betcha. It's under there.
All right, moving on to the next page, Dunbar Water Main, all the survey work and preliminary CAD work is done, design's ongoing. Submit plans and project manual to you guys for review. April 24th is the date I got from the design team, and then meet with you guys to go over, make sure we got everything that you guys are looking for. Advertise for bids, June 4th, bid opening June 21st. We may be able to cut a little bit of time off of this. I'll work with the designers, but that's what we're sitting right now. I got it to where we're opening the bids about 4 days before you guys have a board meeting, so we can you know, we will usually know the contractors that we're bidding. If we get somebody we don't know, we might have to delay that a little bit, investigating it. So they were thinking the notice to proceed about July 15th. We're making it a quick 60-day project, which they should be able to do, and then another 60 days for final restoration. So it isn't that complicated a job. We've got some permit issues to deal with Will County Highway Department, which isn't any big deal.
If you don't have your permit from the county yet, can you start on the north end of the job and work south?
Oh, we absolutely will, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
So that's the only tough thing, and make sure and get the IT permit. But that's basically an update on all three. If anybody has any questions, fire away.
Question on the Penfield water main. You said in a phone call a week or two ago that an EPA inspector wanted to come out and look at the job. Is that true, or is the job closed
Yeah,
down?
so I called the EPA. They asked me, did you notify them? And I said, absolutely. And the EPA in Springfield, they can't allow the loan. But when you do a final inspection, they make us get a hold of the local office in Des Plaines and then schedule an inspection. Did somebody call you and say they want to come out?
No, I haven't heard.
Grover
Well,
did.
it's been 2 months since we
Is
notified.
that the guy?
Yes, because he wants to do the system inspection the same time and kill two birds with
Then
one
I'll
stone.
call him.
We've called him. He was supposed to send you a letter in reference to closeout documents. And yeah, he's got your number and everything, Bob. I don't know what's going on.
Well, that's what I tried explaining to Springfield, that they said, well, you have nothing to worry about. You did your job, you notified us, and you notified them, and we've already, the good thing is they didn't hold up the last check to the village. So, Bob, when you got that, and you guys have been paid on that last loan disbursement about 6 weeks ago, I think. So they're not holding it over our head for the money, but it's just another thing that I don't, and I feel the same way. I want to close this out. We've already done the.
But it's probably an understaffing issue on their part.
We've already done the AIS inspections, so we may have one more inspection from the Illinois EPA in their local Des Plaines office coming down here. I sent them the record drawings, which is all they wanted to start with, so. But other than that, the Penfield
Well,
water.
the federal EPA came out to make sure we had American steel on the job.
Yeah,
Feds came out.
yeah, we're done with them.
Yeah, they didn't find, that was a pretty simple AIS compliant. We'll have a big formal thing on the AIS for the treatment plant, but for Penfield water main, there wasn't a whole lot because we had PVC water main, it was the hydrants and the valves and,
Covers.
yeah, that kind of stuff, so that should close Penfield, in my mind, it's already closed, but anyway, the big news is the loan offer came in Friday, right? Friday. And
Well, actually, this morning we got it in the mail, we signed it and sent it right back.
yeah, so as soon as, so we're gonna start the process tomorrow. I'm gonna get the contracts out to Illinois Hydraulic, and then they have 15 days to get them back, and then I'll get them to you guys, get them signed, and then we'll notice to proceed. The pre-con is 30.
We are the first community in the state to get a 30-year loan from them.
What's that?
We're the first community in the state to get a 30-year loan.
Yeah, well, it'll be an interesting couple of months here getting started. Will be a lot of shop drawings right off the bat. I don't know how quickly they're mobilized, but that's their needs and efforts, so we'll see. But there'll be a lot of shop drawings that you guys, we use a system called Submittal Exchange, where the contractors submit everything electronically, our guys review it, and whoever on the village wants to have access to that is more than just let me know and I'll set you up, and you can watch all the shop drawing, go through the whole process, but I think you're probably gonna wanna see that, so I'll set you up
Yes.
with that, you know, and Bob, you want, or whoever else wants.
And let us know when the pre-con is, I'm sure it'll take a couple hours to do it in here.
Oh, yeah, it'll be a couple hour, we'll have a little AIS, Amanda Heller's actually our AIS person now, so she'll give them a little pep talk on it to make sure we're in compliance with that, so.
Okay, any questions for Ray?
I'll keep you guys abreast of any changes and as we go along, but the big thing again was the loan came in Friday, which was a big relief on everybody, so. And 1.12, right,
Mm-hmm.
which is phenomenal.
Yep.
I think they took away some of the principal forgiveness, but they kept lowering the interest rate due to that, because you didn't quite qualify as a low-income community, so they kept knocking points off, and now you're down to 1.12%.
All right, so that took care of 6, 7, 8. Number 9, Chestnut Street, light update. Go by, look down Chestnut, they still aren't on, so.
You know, Bob said it right there, we got the okay, the work order in, and
You don't
he
have to
called
explain
me.
for a comment.
I don't even know what to say about it.
You don't have to defend them.
When the light goes on,
I hear you. All right, curb and sidewalk repair program to begin. Public Works will be making a list of areas to be addressed, and then projects start in May if the budget's approved. We got money in there for curb and sidewalk repair. Concentrated a big area of Prairie Crossings last year.
there's still a couple
I think there's
curbs
still
that,
a decent
yes.
amount there, and then I think you had some areas in,
There's still
Still
a
a
couple corners and hunters that have to be mud jacked, and we're making progress.
but that's the mayor's old baby finally coming to fruition for him, yeah, yep, absolutely. Street sweeping, begins in late April. We'll be running a machine for the 1 week. This program was completed during the daytime last year due to complaints of noise at night. Buddy, you got anything to add other than
Just,
same thing as last year?
yeah, we're just trying to make sure that we can get the machine right now. It might end up being pushed back a week.
Okay.
No, I would like to say one other thing. In the next 3 weeks, we will be doing our spring flushing. So you'll see we'll put the markers out the week before. I'm not exactly sure which week, but it'll be the next 3 to 4 weeks.
Road salt stockpile for 2018-19 winter. Still not really done with this one, but the village has about 600 tons in storage. Placed another order for 600 more tons for next winter. We used 900 this year, which is typical for a winter season. So I'm surprised you used 900. This didn't really have many events.
When in doubt, throw it out.
There was a week or two period where we were going out every other day. And after that period,
Yeah, pretty hard.
Yeah.
About 9
One
days.
little blast of.
Yeah.
except
That's what I was
2 week
thinking.
period, she was half our.
Out of my
You were on the boat.
Yeah.
Is that where you were? That's where you were,
I was on
John.
vacation.
It snowed here in February, John, so.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, that's my report.
Economic Development Committee Relations, trustee Meyer.
Comcast provided an annual report and notification to modify channel lineup on some of its packages. There's a letter enclosed. And it's time for spring newsletter again. The chief will be featured as our newest employee, and we will do an article on the Dunbar water main. There's also usual seasonal articles that are run in the village president's corner. If anybody else has any other ideas for what they would.
Yeah, I wrote one on the sewer plant too.
Did you?
I think people need to know, this is the biggest capital public works project in Beecher's history, and they need to know, even though it's boring, sewer treatment.
Yep, dog tags.
We want to talk about if people are doing spring cleaning, if they come across any historic items, they can donate it to the museum.
Mosquito abatement.
Mention Sesquicentennial.
That's a regular, yeah. We could mention it, I don't know what I wanna say.
Not much
yet.
you wanna say, but, coming up in
Yeah.
2 years or something. So, all right, that ends my report.
The agenda says the Will County Governmental League had a forum on groundwater supply, and I think the main points that were picked up at this conference or this meeting, on the western edge of Will County, the water tables are drying up, and eventually they're gonna have to find another source where the eastern portion of Will County, we are not. Which sort of was interesting, because you would have thought that the water tables underground are being replenished by the rainwater and the snow, and they're not. Our water doesn't get down there, so, eventually you may be able to see some, in fact, the village of Shorewood started planting 10 years ago, because they're in one of those stages that are gonna dry up eventually. And another thing that Bob keeps bringing up as a story, the water that we get took 1,000 years to get here. So 1,000 years ago, that's how long it took for that water to come down from Rockford area and Wisconsin area, if I remember right.
I think it's a lot of it is Lake Superior water underneath there.
And they didn't mention that, those were, people were
But,
supposed to.
but when you pour water from the tap, it took 1,000 years to get from soaking in the ground to where you draw it from the tap. That's amazing. That's how long the filtering process was on that water.
There was about 50 towns there, if I remember right, so it's a pretty interesting meeting. Beecher P. and Tonomoni at May 17th at Both Field, we're gonna have a combined hosting of the Sessler Mayors and Managers Dinner meeting that week, that Thursday. You'll get more information as time goes on, hopefully all of you will be able to attend. Will County Government Lobby Day, Will County Governmental League Lobby Day. Ironically, we were able to meet with the governor in the morning, and all our sessions got canceled that afternoon because that is the day the debate ran on gun control. That's when they started debating, nobody would leave the floor. So now they did come in after the fact, after the meetings were over and met up with us somewhere along the line. But and as far as the governor, the governor's the governor. On item number 4, I would ask someone to make a motion to appoint Dawn Bruno to replace Phil Solomon on the Youth Commission. And Stacy, why don't you make that motion?
I make a motion to consider the appointment of Dawn Bruno to the Beecher Youth Commission, replacing Bill Solomon.
Second. There's a motion made, and there is a second. Any questions on the motion? Roll call.
Whaling,
Yes.
Caprows,
Yes.
Missouri,
Yes.
Kraus.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Basil.
Yes.
Okay, now I ask for a motion to go into an executive session, discuss personnel, the pay rate for the treasurer, and the pay rate for the EMA, code enforcement, and community policing. Does that cover that?
There's a second MOU I'd like to discuss too.
You have to name it.
The Lieutenant's MOU. Rick Emerson.
Okay. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Under discussion, what departments to stay? Sure, just the chief, one can leave?
Bud, can we?
Okay.
Roll call.
Basil.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Kraus.
Yes.
Missouri.
Yes.
Caprows.
Yes.
Whaling.
Yes.